to this morning's assembly, and as we always start with, let's start with our song, reminding us we're looking in the Bible. Let's open the book. Last week's story. It was a story about Abraham and Sarah, wasn't it? They were quite old and God asked them to move house, and Sarah really didn't want to, did she? Well, they were also told that they were going to have a baby, and then can you remember at the end of the story they did. They had a little baby boy called Isaac. Well, Isaac grew up, he married, and he had a family. Then his son Jacob married and had children too. Do any of you come from a big family? How many children are there in your family? Well, Jacob had 12 sons and he had daughters as well. Like most families, Jacob's sometimes didn't get on very well.
Jacob had 12 sons. That's right, 12. His favourite son was Joseph.
Come here, lad, I've got something for you.
Jacob spoiled Joseph and gave him special gifts, like this beautiful, multicoloured coat, bright as a rainbow and as proud as a peacock. Joseph sparkled next to his 11 brothers.
I had a fantastic dream last night.
Oh no, the brothers were so jealous of Joseph, but even more they hated his dreams.
I dreamt we were all bags of wheat. And your bags of wheat bowed down to my bag of wheat. I also had another dream.
The brothers groaned.
I dreamt we were all stars, and your stars bowed down to my star.
The brothers had had enough. They were sick of Joseph and started to make a dreadful plan. Next time they were out of Jacob's sight, they grabbed Joseph and hit him. And they tore off his colourful coat and dropped him down an old, dry well. His brothers were planning to kill Joseph when they spotted a cloud of dust on the horizon. It was a band of traders and their camels, loaded with things to sell in Egypt. So the brothers changed their mind, and instead of leaving Joseph in the well to die, they sold him to the traders. When the traders arrived in Egypt, they took Joseph to the market to be sold as a slave.
This one looks young and healthy. I'll take him.
So Joseph went to work for Potiphar, who noticed that Joseph was honest and worked hard. He put Joseph in charge of all his slaves. Potiphar was a fair man, but his wife was selfish and scheming. She tricked Joseph, told lies about him, and he was thrown into. 2 prison. bad for Joseph. It seemed as if his dreams would never come true. But God was watching over him.
So, poor Joseph, he's had a real mixture of luck, hasn't he? At the beginning, he was so proud and everything was going so well for him, and he had that big coat. Then he ended up being sold, and then it got better again when he was working for Potiphar, and now, look at him in prison. Sometimes we're going to sing a song now which reminds us, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, but do you know what? Whether things are good or whether things are bad, God is always there with you.
Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes the world comes tumbling down. Steady as a rock, more dependable than air. However you're feeling, God's there. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes the world comes tumbling down. Steady as a rock, more dependable than air. However you're feeling, God's there. He's with you when you're up, He's with you when you're down. He's with you when the world comes tumbling down. Steady as a rock, more dependable than air. However you're feeling, God's there. However you're feeling, God's there. However you're feeling, God's there.
Joseph was still stuck in an Egyptian prison, even though he had done nothing wrong. In prison with him was a man who used to be the king's wine server.
Joseph, last night I had the weirdest dream.
Really? What was it?
Well, in my dream there was this grapevine, and on it were 3 branches. And suddenly these branches burst forth with grapes, and I squeezed the grapes into a cup, and then I gave them to the king. Whatever can that mean?
Joseph listened to the dream. God listened too, and whispered the meaning into Joseph's ear.
Before you came to jail, you used to serve wine to the king, didn't you? In 3 days, you're going to be free and serving wine for the king again.
And that is exactly what happened.
You were right, Joseph. I'm never going to forget you, and I'll try and get you out of here if I can.
2 long years went by. Then Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, said one breakfast time,
I had a really strange dream last night. It was so... well, I just don't know what it means. It was so strange.
I know a man who can tell you about dreams.
Joseph was brought out of prison straight away.
I had a really strange dream last night. I was standing on the banks of the River Nile when suddenly 7 fat cows came out and started eating the grass. But then 7 more cows came out, all skinny and bony, and they ate the fat cows, but they were just as skinny as before. Whatever can it mean?
God whispered in Joseph's ear, and Joseph listened.
Your Majesty, the next 7 years there'll be plenty of crop, plenty of food to spare. But to follow, there'll be 7 years of bad harvest, bad crop. If you don't want your people to be like them skinny cows, you need to be wise and store up the crop during the good years.
Joseph, you are a wise and I believe an honest man. charge of saving the crops and giving them out later.
One morning, Joseph went from prison to palace, and brought nobody to the king's chief helper. For 7 years, he stored up Egypt's extra food before the famine came. Then the crops stopped growing, and everyone came to Joseph for food. One day, there was a knock at the door. Do you know who it was? Joseph's 11 brothers had run out of food at home. They bowed down on the floor in front of him and asked to buy some food.
They don't recognise me. They're bowing down, just like in my dream all those years ago. Very well. You may buy some food.
Joseph told his servants to load sacks of grain onto their donkeys, but to hide a silver cup in the youngest lad's sack.
I'm going to see if they're really changed or as mean as they used to be.
When the brothers reached the edge of the city, his servants stopped them and searched through their sacks. What did they find? A silver cup.
Your brother must have stolen that. He's got to stay here and be my slave.
But the brothers begged him. They told him how their father Jacob had already lost one son, and how his heart would be broken if young Benjamin didn't come home. Keep us instead, they said. So Joseph knew they had changed. He told them right there and then who he was.
I'm Joseph, your long-lost brother.
So Jacob and all the brothers came to Egypt. And Jacob was overjoyed to see Joseph again. And Joseph sat back and smiled, thanking God for making his dreams come true.
Sometimes things were really good for Joseph, but sometimes they were really bad. Did you notice how his dreams came true? God protected Joseph and was with him when he felt up and also when he felt down. And eventually, Joseph was able to forgive his family and to keep them all safe, and to keep everyone in Egypt safe as well when they run out of food.
So now we're just going to have a prayer. If you'd like to join us, will you please put your hands together? Otherwise, would you just sit quietly? Dear God, help us to remember that you have a plan for our lives. Help us to also remember that you are with us in the dark times and are always there to listen to us whenever we need help. Amen.
Thank you for watching. We hope you've enjoyed being with us this morning, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.